Welcome to PMdistilled. In this video, let us try to understand work breakdown structure in detail. If you recollect the previous sessions, we collected the requirements from the stakeholders. From that, we came out with a product breakdown structure. A product breakdown structure just shows the main deliverables that need to be produced by the project. Now the next step is superimposing the product breakdown structure with the work that is required to really develop those components that is shown in the product breakdown structure. So product breakdown structure, that is PBS, that gets superimposed with the actual work that need to be done to arrive at the work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure, it can have multiple levels, starting from level 0 to maybe level 4 or 5. By the time we reach level 3, 4, 5, we'll have sufficient details to work out the cost estimate of the project. A work breakdown structure can be shown in two formats. One is the tree structure, which gives the hierarchical form, and then we have the list structure. From my experience, what I've seen is most of the projects, they use the list structure. A list structure, for if it has to be effective, it should have the proper coding. So by looking at any element in the work breakdown structure, we should be able to identify the previous level. We'll be seeing these things in detail as we proceed. So as discussed, we have the requirements, then the product breakdown structure, then the work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure can be shown in two formats, either as a tree structure or as a list structure. The lowest level in the WBS we call as the work package. The lowest level means there is nothing below it. We call it as work packages. So work package is not an activity, it is a level above the activity level. So the lowest level in a WBS is the work package. And when we really, as a practitioner, when we do the work breakdown structure, we'll be always in a dilemma on to what granularity we should decompose. PMI has given a very useful guideline on this. We call it as 880 rule. An 880 rule suggests that work packages should be between 8 hours or 80 hours chunks of work. That means for smaller projects, the affinity of the work packages will be towards that 8 or 10 or 15 or whatever. The affinity will be towards the 8-hour thing. But for large projects, the affinity of the work packages must be towards the 80 hours chunks of work. That means at least once in 10 days, the status should change. For a small project, if you have very large work packages, the problem is we'll not be able to see the progress. But for a very large project, if you have small work packages, then we'll end up doing micromanagement. Here the key point to be noted here is activities are not shown in the WBS. The lowest level in the WBS is the work package. And we said, as discussed just now, 880 rule, work packages should be between 8 hours or 80 hours chunks of work. So this is a heuristic. That means if you want to deviate from it, that is also fine. For mega projects, the sizing can be different. For very micro projects, we can sometimes bypass this. Work packages are supported with additional information in the form of WBS dictionaries. A typical WBS dictionary can have the work package code, description, predecessor, successor, the quality activities that must be performed, and what is the budget of the work package. Then we have 100% rule. Once we have the WBS finalized, all future planning will be based on the work breakdown structure. So if any of the scope is missed out, if we miss out to capture any of the scope in the work breakdown structure, that means it will not be there in the final product. So we have to ensure that the entire scope is covered in the work breakdown structure. So we call it as the 100% rule. The 100% of the scope must be depicted in the work breakdown structure. And each work package will have a control account, which is the budget of the work package. In the upcoming lessons, we'll be discussing about the tools and techniques used for estimation. We have analogous, parametric, 3-point, Monte Carlo, etc., which we'll discuss in the upcoming lessons. To summarize, we have product breakdown structure. We superimpose the product breakdown structure with the actual work that need to be performed to really develop those deliverables. A work package, WBS, can be represented as a tree structure or a list structure. The lowest level in the work breakdown structure is the work package. Work packages should be or can be between 8 hours and 80 hours chunks of work. We call it as 880 rule. Then the WBS should capture the entire scope of the project. We call it as 100% rule. Then WBS work packages are supported with WBS dictionaries, and every work package is allocated with a budget component. We call it as a control account. Once the work breakdown structure is completed, then the scope gets baselined. That means after that, any changes to the scope, we have to follow the change management procedure. After the WBS or the work breakdown structure, the next stage, we decompose those work packages into activities and we get the activity list. And that is followed by activities sequencing, and then arriving at the activity sequences, and then developing the schedule and optimizing the schedule. These things we'll discuss in the future lessons. I hope you got a fair understanding about WBS, work packages, 880 rule, 100% rule, and a control account. And sometimes there is a concept called 80-20. That is a global heuristic. It means 80% of the wealth is with 20% of the people, or 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. Similarly, in WBS, 80% of the cost may be incurred by 20% of the work packages. So if we apply this 80-20 principle onto the entire WBS, then we can identify those 20% of the work packages which constitutes to the 80% of the cost of the project. So if you can control this 20% of the work packages, then our cost control will be very, very effective. Thank you very much.